Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Athlete Institute. I'm so used to, I almost said welcome to the Powerade Center, Declan.
Right.
I'm so used to saying that for a home game. We are here at the Athlete Institute in Orangeville, Ontario, the training facility of the Brampton A's for Game 3, and of course Game 4, which will be on Friday at 7 p.m. right here again with the Windsor Express. The series right now is split one game apiece. Game 1 went to the A's, Game 2 went to the Express. And we are ready for tip-off here. The Windsor Express wearing their road blacks and the A's wearing their alternate uniform in red for this home stand. Granado, Cavell Johnson, Zane Johnson, Bryson Johnson, and Akeem Scott to start for the Brampton A's. Ryan Anderson, Tim Parham, Tony Bennett, Chris Commons, and Quinnell Brown, who had an outrageous game in Game 2 against the A's in Windsor.
Well, first off, it's an interesting that we don't see DeAndre Thomas starting for the Windsor Express.
He didn't start in Game 2 as well. They're still trying to work him back into the lineup. And you know how normally you have the poor vantage site? I have it this time because I've got Kevin Loisel and the entire bench right in front of me. So I apologize if I'm a little delayed on my play-by-play this evening as Granado gets the slip pass from Akeem Scott. He is fouled and will go to the foul line.
That was a fantastic roll at the perfect timing and a great pass by Akeem Scott to find him wide open there. Should have finished though. Should have finished that one. But we're going to the line.
Can't leave points up on the scoreboard in a conference final.
And not even that. I mean, I think you'll agree. These games, it's literally within 5 points or less. So it matters later on down the stretch of these games.
And the thing that kept the A's in the game in Windsor, in Game 2 I'm speaking of, was their foul shooting. I believe they were 21 of 26 or 27 from the free throw line as Granado gets both of those to fall. And I feel like I'm going to have to do a little bit of a workout to try and do the the Windsor half of the floor. If you can't tell, we are in the corner directly beside the Windsor Express bench off of the miss from the Express. Zane Johnson came up with the rebound. Akeem Scott in transition pulls from beyond the arc and misses, and Chris Commons comes down with it.
Now, again, a tough shot.
Here's Bennett for three, and a whistle is blown, and they are going to call a foul. They call that on Akeem Scott.
See, the problem is with Akeem Scott, I don't have a problem with him shooting the three, but what happens is his timing
and
on
decision making.
Yes, and the thing is, his timing and his decision-making means more than anybody else on this team because he is the emotional leader and the point guard on the team.
Off of the inbound, here's Quinnell Brown with 10 on the shot clock. Parham with it now, over to Bennett. Bennett gets the screen from Parham on the drive. He curls to the bucket, misses that one. Parham's there for the rebound, though. It didn't hit the shot clock, and they're going to call a shot clock violation on the Windsor Express.
Great defense by Brampton. Luckily, they we didn't come up with the rebound, but luckily shot clock helped us out there. Again, now remember the game against London. Cavell Johnson had a great game, and they were looking for him early. I think that's a big key to us beating the Windsor Express. Is Cavell has to be really involved.
Bryson Johnson for three, and that goes right down the middle of the pipe for Bryson Johnson, and the A's with an early 5-0 lead.
Bryson Johnson's defense, the whole London series was simply put amazing.
Here's Commons for three. That's off the mark. London has now, or sorry, London. You say London, talking about that series, and I say it thinking it's Windsor. My apologies. Cavell Johnson's miss is picked up by Granado to Zane Johnson. That's off the mark. So it's been almost 3 minutes now without a score for the Express. Bennett on the drive. The block from Cavell Johnson.
I like the effort, but that's got to be a block to save the possession.
Yeah, Cavell's got to do, and Granado as well, and along with Marcus Oliver, they've got to do a better job when they block it to try and keep it inbound.
Yeah.
However, I can understand keeping it out of bounds in that situation because of the angle that he was going at.
Right,
he was right along that baseline.
It was a tough one, and I mean, I think he recovered late, so that's why the block went up so far out of bounds. But I'm just speaking more in general because those are possessions that we could use.
Off the inbound, here's Bennett over to Parham. Misses that one, and Granado's there for the rebound. Akeem Scott comes up with the loose ball. Scott puts it on the wheels, on the drive, the miss. It comes out of bounds towards us, and it will stay with the A's.
Just so everyone who can't see us, the ball came at us at a high velocity, and I was able to catch it and save Megan from being hit.
It was not coming towards me, everybody. On the inbound, here's Zane Johnson for 3, and that falls.
He's a better player in the starting lineup than if he comes off the bench, I find.
I find it allows him to get into the game a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Here's Anderson, another 3, and that one finally falls for the Express. So that was about 2 minutes and 51 seconds that it took for the Windsor Express to score, much different from the way they started game 2. Scott to Johnson. Bryson misses that one, and Commons comes up with the rebound. Back the other way.
I love this matchup between Collins and Cavell.
Here's Commons on the drive. Misses that one. Loose ball, it goes out of bounds. And they're going to stay with the Express.
I do love this matchup between Cavell and Commons because they're both very similar. I think Commons is a little bit better dribbling the ball, but length and athleticism is very similar.
Anderson off the inbound.
Bad shot.
Granado comes up with it, but throws it into the hands of Quennell Brown to Commons. The layup misses. Zane Johnson back
Commons
taps
is
it.
wide open.
That's Cavell.
Sorry, Cavell.
I knew what you were going for. Extra pass. Bryson Johnson in the corner. Off the mark. Tony Bennett comes up with the rebound. An early 8-3 lead for the A's with 8:10 to play in the first quarter. That's Quennell Brown for 3. That one falls. And the Express quickly get themselves back into it, and Coach Jones will pull Kevin Loisel off the bench. And then on the other way, it's Akeem Scott to Cavell Johnson for the hoop and the harm.
That was not an easy finish at all. He caught the ball, and his momentum was still taking him out really far. Was able to gather himself, jump straight up, and Commons was actually holding his right hand down and was able to overpower him for a big finish. But now let's see what he does to his free throws. What are you going to tell him to do?
Finish on his toes.
Say it again. That time he does. It's okay. It's just what we play.
Granado's there for the cleanup, though. Cavell Johnson celebrated, I believe, his 29th birthday last week.
Wow, I thought he was like 21, man. He doesn't age.
Turned 29, I believe it was 29 on Thursday. So a happy belated birthday to Cavell. Here's Commons in the corner trying to back down Cavell, 8 on the shot clock. Anderson is opposite him, 45-degree angle. Commons gets all the way to the bucket and can't score. Granado was there for the cleanup on the glass. Here's Zane.
Now, see, in this position, I like to see,
Cavell, the fadeaway. That falls for Cavell.
I like to see Tom post up Commons right under the net to see if we can get another foul on him.
Here's Bennett. Screen from Loisel to Anderson for 3. That's off the mark. On the rebound, it's Akeem Scott. Quickly to Zane. He'll trigger.
Oh.
Count the bucket? And they will count the bucket because the shot left Zane Johnson's hand before the foul.
Now what has to happen is, I think what they're saying is Tom is playing a little bit more physical. And I think personally, Windsor, some of the players are flopping on some of the hits, and they're not getting the calls.
I apologize, I didn't see who they called the foul on. It was on an Express player. So the A's will have the inbound on the baseline, and they hold a 17-6 lead.
But did the basket count?
Yes, it did.
Oh, and they retain the possession.
Yes, because
Okay.
there was a foul called on the inside. Akeem Ellis on the drive, count the bucket, and the foul.
Wow.
Akeem Ellis and
somebody, Zane?
nope. Akeem Ellis and Kirk Williams Jr. checked in during that foul figuring out.
So there's a lot
That's
going
what I
on
was trying
right
to figure
now.
out right there.
We're in a bad position, everyone. I wish you guys could see where we're at. And I didn't realize how tall the Windsor team is because we can't see nothing
They're
when they're standing
basketball
up.
players,
Oh, yeah,
Declan.
I forgot, my bad.
Akeem Ellis completes the three-point play. So a very early 20-6 lead. A's have a a solid lead right now, but still only the first quarter. A lot of time left in the game, and a lot can happen
now you got
between
Johnson
now
on
and the final buzzer.
Johnson on Quinnell Brown. Look at that defense. Look, he
Quinnell-
won't even let him get the ball. Beautiful.
But he's going to get called for a foul. That is the right call.
But don't you think they were both tangling up? I would have. I thought it would have been a no call.
But again, it all comes down. I've said it before. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Fair enough. And then they retain possession again.
Correct. On the inbound, Anderson for three. That's off the mark, and Tom Granado's going to get called for a foul from behind as he pushed Kirk Williams Jr.
That foul call all came from the coach of the Windsor Express complaining to the referee, saying how Tom was playing.
Here's the thing, though. When you're a coach, part of your job
is to do that.
It's to rally for your team. You're going to rally behind your players. You're going to, hey, look out for this guy, look out for this. And the refs will do it. If you do it in a respectful manner, the refs will look for it, and it sometimes can turn into a call. Coach Jones is just doing his job.
And that's just as much as sometimes you'll see coaches pick up a technical. And sometimes it works in their favor.
That's correct. On the inbound, here's Bennett. To Kirk Williams Jr., he's stripped.
Great strip by Oliver.
Scott, shovel pass backwards to Zane Johnson. He clears, and they're going to call him for an offensive foul as Tony Bennett was there to take the hit. And I'm going to say this. It's interesting.
I know what you're going to say.
I'm saying the same thing Bennett is, wondering why the official on the baseline who had the clearest vantage point can't make that call, but the official at the volleyball attack line can make that call.
Yeah.
Right call, but it makes you wonder as a player why that official doesn't make that call. And then Marcus Oliver is getting called for a foul as he checked in on the drive by Quinnell Brown.
I would like to see Marcus Oliver and Akeem Scott go back to their pick and rolls that they were doing that was so effective throughout the whole London Lightning series. So I have an interesting thing I want to bring up. So remember the last game against the London Lightning, and Tom got into it with
Al
Stewart. And we both said, you know what, it's a big loss for both teams, but it hurts London a little bit more. I had a chance to talk to Toot Rouch at the halftime of that game. And I said to him, I asked him, what do you think about the ejections? He's like, it actually hurts Brampton more. I said, how come? He goes, Tom does nothing wrong. He's going to go 7 for 7, get your rebounds, and not, of course, any bad shots.
It's true.
And it gives you a body presence that you don't have with anybody else on Brampton, and allows Cavell to stay at the 4 position.
That's true.
Yeah. So it was interesting because, just hearing from somebody else's perspective, because you and I both agree that we thought it hurt London more, but coming from Toot.
I think in a Game 5 situation, I get what Toot was saying, but in a Game 5, in a full series, if there was an ejection that warranted suspensions, in a series, it would hurt the A's more because Tom is gone for a longer period of time. But in a Game 5 situation, with your back against the wall, Al Stewart is more missed than Tom Granado because you've got 3 backups for Tom Granado.
Right.
You don't have 3 backups for Al Stewart.
But
don't get me wrong, Ed Horton played his behind off in that Game 5 to try and make up for the missing Al Stewart. But in that situation, in Game 5, in that particular series, against the A's, Al Stewart was needed in that game because of what he can do as a point guard for Coach Knox and what he was able to do in that series against the A's with his orchestrating and running the point and just basically quarterbacking their offense, but as well quarterbacking their defense. He was missed, and I think Toot is completely correct. If it happened in Game 1, and let's say the league decided to suspend both of them for the series, the A's would be hurting more because of what Tom can bring as a backup to a backup.
Right.
Depending on who's going that day, Tom could be missed more in a series as opposed to a one-game situation.
Well, Cavell will miss him more for sure.
Yes.
And we also have to remember, we didn't go on the winning streak back in the regular season until Tom actually became a full-time starter.
Yes. Not even I wouldn't necessarily say a full-time starter until he was getting consistent minutes
yes.
in the game.
Yeah. some subs here for Brampton. Ashton Smith
Go ahead.
and Edmondson subs in. We're a lot quicker with this lineup, but we're also a lot smaller.
Yes. When Akeem Ellis and
Yeah.
Marcus Oliver are your bigs, you're definitely a lot smaller. However, if you think about it, Coach Jones has essentially countered with Chris Commons and Kirk Williams Jr.
Right.
They call that foul on Ashton Smith. They call him on the armbar from behind on the inbound. Here's Anderson.
I can't see nothing.
They go down low to Commons. He's double blocked, but Kirk Williams Jr. is there to clean it up, and then he goes up and is fouled. So Kirk Williams Jr. will go to the free throw line.
Chris Commons is having a double C's having a tough day in the office today.
They call that foul on Akeem Ellis.
Still no DeAndre Thomas. I know he missed a couple of games down the stretch because he's pretty sick. Good to see the big fella healthy though.
Yes.
Out here playing. As much as I want them to lose, you know, health is a big thing.
Theo Davis also checked in for the A's. Here's Ellis to Edmondson. Edmondson will pull up from three. Misses and it goes out of bounds. Early shot.
Early
Not
shot
a very good decision.
could have been a foul. I might not have given it on the shot, but after the ball was released, and not give him 3 shots, but give him possession.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anderson to Bennett. He'll take the 3. That's off the mark. On the rebound, though, it's
We are getting out rebounded like crazy.
KWJ. Quinnell Brown in the corner for 3. That's off the mark. Marcus Oliver is there for the rebound up to Ashton Smith. He gets doubled, splits the defense. Edmondson. Ellis will take the 3. Misses. Theo Davis fighting for the rebound. He controls a new shot clock. Extra pass. Edmondson in the corner. That falls for
Great
Tyshawn Edmondson.
pass.
Sometimes that extra pass just gives you that wide open look. A 23-12 lead with 4:22 to play, and they're going to get Ashton Smith on a foul.
Where was the foul call there? I didn't see that one at all.
I couldn't because there was a flag in my
Oh, yeah,
face.
good point.
I
No.
just knew that the only person with Bennett and Quinnell Brown in that area was Ashton, so I just guessed. Unfortunately, I had to.
You know, again, let's give another shout out. We talked about Johnson's defense the whole London series. Ashton Smith had himself a really strong series against London, picking up a defense full court on Stewart and Horton. Certain games, he pretty much won us the game just on his full court defense.
Yes. Bennett on that foul is at the free throw line, missed the first and the second. Very
Uncharacteristic.
compared to what he shot from the foul line in game 1 and 2. Didn't go to the line that often, but he was pretty much perfect from the foul line. So to see him miss 2 in a row is very uncharacteristic of Tony Bennett. Here's Oliver on the spin, not enough juice on that. Back the other way, here's Bennett driving, kicks it.
Can you see?
It's Kirk Williams Jr. back to Bennett in the corner. He'll take the 3. And sorry, they're going to say that's a long 2. Ellis left wide open. That falls for Akeem Ellis. I'm going to be interested to see what the stats are from this quarter when we get them at the end of it. Because the A's from beyond the arc in game 2 were abysmal. 10 of 38. So the way that they've started this first quarter, a lot better, but still not great. But I'd still like to see the stats. And an offensive foul is going to be called on Chris Commons as Theo Davis took that hit in the numbers. Great defense from Theo Davis.
Great defense. That wasn't even a flop.
He didn't jump.
No.
He didn't really fall for what Chris was trying to do with that back down dribble. He just stood his ground. He took every shoulder that Commons gave him, and on that last one, he took it in the chest, and the official gave it to him. Sometimes good defense is rewarded.
Now, he's got 3 fouls. He's got 3 fouls, so he's got to sit out.
And that'll bring Tim Parham back into the game.
But I find the problem with Clemens is he's posting up and he's taking so long to actually make a move. Like 7 seconds are coming off the clock before he's actually making a move to the net.
Now is that, as Ellis takes a step back 3,
Wow.
drops.
Wow.
Is that, going back to your comment about Commons, is that on Commons for taking so long to back down? Or is that on the fact that his teammates are not clearing out quick enough for him to make a move?
I think it's a bit of both.
Here's Williams, he'll take the shot, that's off the mark. Theo tries to control, doesn't have control, but does get into the hands of Ashton Smith. Nice hesitation move on the baseline.
No.
And Edmondson contorts his body.
Don't
gets
like
that one to go.
That was beautiful. What a play.
Gary Gibson checked into the game. Here's Quinnell Brown. Brown tries to get it to Parham. It goes out of bounds. And they are going to say last touched by the Express. And Akeem Scott will check back in along with Flinard Whitfield, making his first appearance here. The A's with a 31-14 lead early on. And you know what's interesting, looking at the clock, the A's actually have more fouls.
And less rebounds. Reggie, I could be wrong on that stat.
That's true.
Let's find out.
10 on the shot clock. Scott has it. Step back 3. Off the mark. I don't like that shot.
I don't like that shot one bit.
Still 10 seconds on the shot clock. No need to take that. And Gary Gibson was giving you the lane.
You know what the funny thing is? I think this is probably one of the better halves that Brampton has done, passing the ball and working their offense. Minus a couple bad shots here and there. But overall, they're actually really passing to each other and really getting everyone involved.
Parham on the drive. No call. I like the no call on that one. Neither player really had neither player really had position or control on that play and drive from Parham, and they're going to get Tony Bennett on a foul off of the drive from Edmondson.
Little extracurricular activity after the foul call, but I mean, it's the
happens.
playoffs.
It's the playoffs. They're grown men. They're basketball players.
Yeah.
If there's no extracurricular activity, it's not a real basketball game.
Exactly. I mean,
As
these
long
referees got to make
as
their
long
money.
as there's no fighting. I don't condone fighting. I just want to make sure everybody does not think I'm saying let's fight. On the inbound, Oliver, 18 on the shot clock. Here's Scott, cross court, Edmondson. Give him room, he'll take it.
Oh.
Misses as
Tough
it rims in and out, and his hands as he's running back on defense, he's got his hands in the air like, come on. Here's Gibson, over to Brown. Kirk Williams with it. Flinard Whitfield's on him. Williams will try to back down, 10 on the shot clock. Going baseline. Good defense from Whitfield.
Great defense.
5 seconds on the shot clock now. Williams Jr. with the turnaround jumper. No good, and Parham comes up with the rebound, but I believe they're going to get him on a foul.
Now, do you see what I'm talking about with the offense there? Was that Kurt Williams taking too long to make up his mind?
That was Williams taking a lot of time to make up his mind, but I also think, too, that the Express are doing a lot of one-on-one basketball right now.
Yes. And Brampton.
And it's really way too early on, and it's very uncharacteristic of them.
Right, and Brampton is doing a lot of team offensive. Let's talk offense. Doing a lot of team basketball, not so much one-on-one, which is uncharacteristic for Brampton to start the game.
Yes.
Because we've seen a lot of one-on-one play, gets them in trouble, and then they go back to the team basketball, and they bring them right back into the game.
Agreed.
Okay, Oliver, finish on the toes, big fella.
Oliver goes 1 for 2 from the foul line. Bennett checked out of the game off of that last play, and Jamarcus Ellis checked for him. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter.
Oh,
Whitfield with it. He
Oh.
had that drive, right?
Yeah.
Scott will take the 3. And that falls for Akeem Scott.
He also had Edmondson on a back screen cut. But we got a 3, so 3s are better than 2s. When they make them.
35-14 lead for the A's in the first quarter. 25 seconds to play here at the Athlete Institute. Megan McPeak and Declan Roberts down low to Cornell Brown. And they're going to get, it's either going to be Oliver or Akeem Scott on that foul.
Good call.
And they give it to Marcus Oliver. You know, not to jinx myself, but I've done this whole quarter without a roster for either team.
Wow.
I just realized that. I looked down looking for rosters as Quinnell Brown hits the first one. I looked down looking for my roster paper, and I realized I don't have it. And then I realized the first quarter's almost over, and I've done it without a roster.
Because you're the MVP.
I'm gonna toot my own horn on that one. I think that's a pretty good job.
And for those who don't know, Megan's a little bit under the weather.
If you couldn't tell, I'm nasally.
Yeah, but,
actually, I'm pretty clear right now what I was about an hour ago. 8 on the shot clock. The kick, here's Whitfield at the end of the quarter. That rims in and out. Oliver's there for the cleanup. Then Edmondson cleans it up, gets it to fall. That is just great team rebounding right there. Everybody waiting for the rebound as the first quarter finishes. The A's with a 37-15 lead over the Express.
Hold on. Did you say the first quarter?
Correct.
Wow. I actually didn't realize it's still the first quarter.
Strong first quarter from the A's.
Great job.
Welcome back as we get set for the second quarter, and I was talking about the stats as that first quarter was ending, and I wanted to see what the A's were shooting from the three-point line. In that first quarter, they took 17 and made 7, shooting 41%, but Declan, you noticed that their field goal percentages, we'll get to it in a moment as the Express start with the first possession of the quarter, and DeAndre Thomas's layup is missed as he checked into the game to start the second quarter here, and starters back on the floor for the A's. Here's Zane down low. Cavell has it to Scott. Goes baseline, the kick. Bryson Johnson for 3. That one does not fall. Garrett Gibson with the rebound.
I mean, that was a great offensive sequence for Brampton. Are we going to talk about the stats, right? Or we want to wait a bit?
We'll wait till the next opportunity.
Okay. Right now, Keem Scott with the rebound. Bring up the ball. I got you. To Tom.
Over to Granado. It was okay with just Coach Jones in my way, but now Bennett's in my way, but it happens. Ooh. Bryson Johnson tried to thread it to Tom Granado. Quinnell Brown on the transition layup. He's fouled. I'm just going to stand up.
Yeah.
I got 3-inch heels on. I can see over the bench now.
So, I think the one thing Brampton has to do is they got to keep putting the pedal to the metal. Don't play not to lose. They got to continue to push. I do think another weakness that the Windsor Express have is if Brampton pushes the ball. We're a lot more effective at pushing. Mind you, the offense is really clicking today in their half-court sets.
Yes, which is unusual because normally the A's are very much a transition team as Quinnell Brown hit both free throws. Ryan Anderson checked back into the game. But going back to what you were just saying, normally the A's are more of a transition game, but it's interesting to see that in the first quarter at least, the half-court set the A's was clicking like you said.
Oh my goodness. And there was 3 to 4 passes on offense. Look, that was 3 passes right there.
And it falls for Zane Johnson from beyond the arc.
Johnson to Johnson, right? Like that's 3 passes.
So a quick break for Tony Bennett as he walks back to the scorer's table to check back in.
Johnson picks up another foul. He has to sit, unfortunately.
I believe Paul Johnson, our PA announcer, yes, there is another one in the A's organization, said that is Bryson's 3rd foul. Here's Bennett around the horn. In the corner, that's Anderson, and that falls for 3. And the Express shot 3 of 9 from long distance in that first quarter, and just 4 of 22 as Akeem Scott gets one to fall. And 4 of 22, sorry, from the field overall. So the fact that they're now starting to make shots is not surprising.
No, not at all. I think the other problem is they're missing a lot of gimmies under the net.
And a nice pass from for Edmondson from Scott.
He came out of nowhere. Oh.
And DeAndre Thomas just picked up a technical foul, and Coach Jones doesn't want him on the court, so he will go right to Chris Commons and pull him back into the game.
I'm so, like, that for me, again, you and I both said great things about DeAndre. Like, he's a fabulous talent.
Sorry, he actually pulls Kirk Williams Jr. I honestly thought that Coach Jones was taking DeAndre out just to have a chat with him about that. Oh, my apologies. I didn't see Kevin Loizella already at the scorer's table, so DeAndre did come out.
Right. Now, he's a fabulous talent.
He's sometimes his emotions get the best of him.
Get the better of him. And especially when you're already down, and this is for all the young players,
it's hard to
you can't get attack.
Especially too, though, he's also coming back from injury, so he's dealing with the emotions of the fact that he's not, as Akeem Scott loses the handle, gets it back. Bennett comes up with the steal and gets the layup on the other end. But going back to what you're saying about DeAndre, it's hard when you're one down, like you said, to pick up a tech. But then also too, when you've been injured for almost a month, as Cavell Johnson gets fouled by Chris Commons, and he'll go to the free throw line. When you've been injured and out of commission for almost a month, I think it was about 3.5 weeks he was out for with that ankle injury, and you're slowly being worked back into the system. It can be frustrating because you're used to playing so many minutes at a time, and you're not getting the same amount of minutes, and you're not being as productive as you were prior to injury. That can be frustrating enough, and then on top of it, he sometimes allows that to, it makes you think if he's allowing that to play into his emotions on the court so early.
But as a leader on the team, you have to set the tone for the rest of the teammates. You not being effective, unfortunately, because of injury, don't make it even worse by picking up a tech when your team is trying to make a comeback.
Yeah.
This isn't a regular season game. This is to go to the championship. That's what I'm saying. And he's so talented.
Yes. Anderson gets open off of a hard screen from Loisel, but can't get that to fall. Akeem Scott.
See, again.
Whoa. The ball went out of bounds. The official blew that it was express ball, but he did not see that it was tipped. Luckily, backup came as they reversed the call and keep it with the A's. On the inbound, Edmondson gets that one to go.
Is he a contortionist?
Yes. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes.
He is going with all these crazy reverse layups. I guess when you can jump that high.
Here's Commons.
Now you see,
Cavell's going to get called for a foul.
That move, he got the ball, and he made up his mind right away. I'm going to make a move to go to the hole.
When Commons makes up his mind of what he's going to do, he is very hard to stop.
He's a matchup nightmare.
No, and that's in no way disrespect to Cavell's game and defense. No. It's just the type of player that Commons is. When he knows what he's going to do and he attacks, he's very hard to guard as he gets that layup to go as the shot clock's winding down.
Personally, I'm going right back to corner.
That falls. He's hot right now.
Is hot like
he's hot
fire.
right now.
Now, me personally, if I'm Akeem Scott, I'm running a play to get Cavell Johnson 1-on-1 to pick up another foul on Commons to get him out of the game.
Here's Commons left open for three. That's off the mark. Akeem Scott with the rebound. Stops in transition.
Say it. I don't want to say it. Go ahead.
Not when there's about 20 seconds on the shot clock.
And you're on a 3-on-2.
Brown in the corner. And an over and back violation is going to be called. Anderson thought it was tipped. Right now, just nothing really going the way for the Express.
Because they're doing everything the hardest way. Because let's say pretend Brampton was in the same position. Let's just flip it. You cannot go for hero basketball, right? It's still, you got to stick with the system.
Not this early on in the game. Not in the first half.
What?
I could understand if it's fourth quarter.
Right.
But not when you've still got an entire half of basketball to play. as there's 7.5 minutes. That's going to be offensive foul. I didn't even need to wait for the official on that one.
That was I saw that clearly.
So there's 7:24 to play in the second quarter, and the A's with a 53-24 lead. But I just keep going back to the way that the Express blew Game 2 open and continued to play in Game 2. It's such a flip-flop of that team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a home court advantage.
A foul was called.
I don't know what happened there.
I'm not sure.
I don't know what's.
They called a foul on Taishuan Edmondson. I don't know where.
I didn't even see him in the play.
So the Express will inbound on the baseline. Here's Anderson. Top of the key, Loisel to Bennett. Left side of the court, Bennett driving, gets space, step back three. That's short. Loose ball picked up by Zane Johnson. Edmondson playing with Anderson, and they're going to get a foul called on Ryan Anderson.
Now, my thing is, things are getting a little bit chippy now. Edmondson, get out of there. You're having a great game.
A little chit-chatting with Edmondson and Anderson. Yeah. The funny thing is they both walk away, but they walk away the same way, the same direction. Now, okay, let's just continue this conversation over here, Ty.
Talking.
Ty, follow me.
Let's head over to the left baseline where there's no referees. You know, we're just talking about system. If you look at the two of the greatest sports franchises, is Coach on the court right now?
Tight quarters. It happens. Here's Edmondson. That was a rough call.
It was a tough one.
It was a tough one.
But going back to what I was talking about with sports franchises.
They call it on Anderson, sorry.
If you look at the San Antonio Spurs and you look at the New England Patriots, you can put anybody in that team, on that team, and the system is perfect. They don't break the system. They don't reinvent the wheel. They stick to the same system.
Really?
And you don't think so?
Because I remember when they got Randy Moss, it didn't really work out that well.
Hey, listen, that team had undefeated season. They lost in the finals.
And that is not an undefeated season.
Regular season.
But you got to be specific.
Okay, sorry.
Missed shot there for the A's. But I'm just saying in that system, Randy Moss was not Randy Moss.
He led the league in touchdowns. He set a record.
But he wasn't Randy Moss.
He was also older.
So age is just a number.
But yeah, going back, like Windsor has to stick with their systems.
You mean. On the kick, Quinnell Brown, baseline jumper. That's off the mark. Loose ball on the rebound. Commons comes up with it and puts that back up. I thought there was some contact
I thought so too. But I don't know how much of that contact he initiated as well.
Here's Grunado. Out to Cavell. He'll take the three. That misses. Loose ball on the floor. Edmondson comes up with it. Scott. I'm as lost as Tony Bennett is on this foul call.
He wasn't even there. I thought the foul was on Loisel.
That's what I thought.
I definitely saw a foul on Loisel.
Chris Cummins is looking at us like, what do we do? I don't know, Chris. I don't know. I actually am as flabbergasted at that call as they are.
It was a bad call.
A timeout on the floor. Media timeout. 53-26 lead. I was just going to say it.
Okay.
Relax.
I feel like you're going to talk about one of my stats that I brought up. No? Okay.
No. But from that first quarter, going back to the stats, because Declan really wants to talk about them. Everything was very close or similar in the way of the field goal shooting, three-point shooting, and free throws. But when you look at it, 4 of 22 from the floor is the Express in that first quarter. A lot of those were bunnies.
Yes.
That you would normally never see a Chris Commons
miss
or a Quinnell Brown miss at point-blank range. You saw that in the first quarter. So from the jump, from the tip, it was almost like things were out of sorts, if you will, for the Express. And then you saw them turn into going into that one-on-one basketball, which then took them even more out of sorts. And of course, too, the whistles not going their way, which can affect your game mentality.
Yep. I think that sometimes what happens is, if we're looking, and the funny thing, I was actually wrong about a stat. I said Brampton was getting out-rebounded. They actually won the rebounding battle that particular quarter.
They're still winning the rebounding battle.
They're still winning.
As of the 6-minute mark in the second quarter, they're still winning at 27-20. But when you look at it too, though, the turnovers, though, the A's only had 3 turnovers in the first quarter. The Express have 5. The Express only have 7 now. The A's have 6. So the A's have doubled their turnovers in the first quarter already, and there's still 6 minutes to play. The Express doing a little bit better job taking care of the ball through the first 6 minutes of this second quarter, as they only have added 2 to their turnover ratio.
Right. And
on the inbound, St. Johnson has space. They're going to say that was a 2.
It looked like a 2. But if you look closely now, every player on the Express has something to say to the referees.
And that's what you can't do, because if you continue to, if you continue to complain to the ref, eventually, as Loisel tries to get it to Commons, but Cavell Johnson comes up with the steal. Ellis quickly up the floor. That one goes off the glass.
They got to move those carpets.
They do have to move those carpets.
You got to get rid of those.
And then the A's with possession again. So when Zane gets it to Cavell on the baseline, he gets that one off the glass. When you look at the way that the Express have gone, the more they complain to the ref and the less they play through the calls, through the hits, and just play the way that they normally would play, the refs aren't going to give you the call because you've been complaining all game, which is unfortunate, as Chris Commons knocks down a 3, because the thing is that on the offensive end for the Express, they are getting hit. There are hits.
They are.
But the refs just aren't calling it. The whistle is not going in their favor right now. And unfortunately, it's going in the favor of the A's, which can be frustrating.
Right now, Megan's getting a little bit choked up. But the beautiful thing is about Megan, she's going to recover and come back. But, yeah, no, I completely agree. But there's got to be a point where coaching has to tell his players, like, okay, that's enough. Hold on, she's not back yet. Hold on.
I'm good.
Okay, you're good. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a part
First of all, that was a great block from Cavell.
Great.
You didn't think I saw it, but I did. I just couldn't call it because I was choking.
And there's Chris Commons.
Knocking down from outside.
And now he's back to back.
Here's Ellis, the step back 3. Off the mark. Theo Davis is there for the rebound. He goes back up with it and is fouled. In that instance, and a technical foul is going to be called on the bench of the Express. And Bennett is trying to get his teammates over to him to talk. That's what you want to see from a leader. That's where you can tell.
But the thing is,
that's where you can tell that Tony Bennett is the leader of this team. Because even though they're dealing with the adversity, he's yelling at his guys like, guys, come over here. We need to talk. When you're down and things aren't going your way, you need someone on the floor to pull everyone together, and that's what you're seeing from Bennett.
The problem is, I thought there was a foul there on Chris Commons, but he's saying there was a push in his back.
Yeah.
Now the referees need to get control of this game back really quickly. And the unfortunate thing is, Chris is started to warm up a little bit, and now he's off.
Now there's a discrepancy, I want to say, with the foul shooter. I'm interested to see that. I'm a little impressed by this assistant coach from the Express. He is getting into the guys on the bench.
Yeah.
Tell him you just got to play through it.
Yeah, I like it. I like that.
At the end of the day, he's saying and reiterating what Coach Jones has been saying from the tip, and probably what Tony Bennett has just said in that huddle, which is, guys, we're down. It's 60-32. Who cares what the scores. We need to play
Just
our
ball.
game. Who cares what the refs are doing? We need to play our game. Just play through it. At the end of the day, as a professional and as a player, no matter what level you're playing at, when things aren't going your way, you have to play through it. That's the only way you're going to get through the game. Here's Ellis, 10 on the shot clock. On the drive, he's hit, but they're going to call an offensive foul.
Such a mega call.
They're going to wave off the basket. Loisel picks up the charge.
Yeah.
And the question is, this is what Kevin Loisel brings to the Express. He brings defensive intensity, and he does those blue-collar workers. Loisel out of Dawson College in Montreal. Can that be what they need to finish this quarter and go into the third quarter with a little intensity and a little momentum on their side?
Well, they want to get this to, if it's possible, at least 20 points going into the fourth. If they can get it down to 20, it's something very workable.
Going into the fourth or the third?
Sorry, the third. I apologize. Going into the third, if they can get it within 20, it's something very workable. And we've always talked about it's a mental aspect. But if it stays at 30 or if Brampton goes on another run again, they're going to have a lot of trouble. But now Brampton, what they need to do is
they can't take their foot off the gas pedal.
don't take the foot off the gas pedal.
Or as I have said in the past, don't take your foot off their throat.
Yeah.
Go for the kill shot.
100%.
If you're a hunter, you go for the kill shot.
That's what you have to do, right? At the point of this game, we're trying to go to the championship.
Speaking of championship, off of the Loisel miss, Kirk Williams came up with it, gets it back from Bennett. He's fouled on the drive and gets the bucket. They call that foul on Theo Davis. So Kirk Williams Jr. at the free throw line.
Oh, Ashton Smith almost came up with a steal there. Travel. Good call. Ashton Smith was very close to coming up with a big steal there.
It's funny, Eric Parker is not dressed beside us. Well, at the end of the bench for the Express, and he even called the travel.
Yeah. If you know your own teammates call a travel for you, that's when you know it's bad.
Sometimes as a ball player, you know what you see when you see it. Here's Ellis, 10 on the shot clock. On the drive. Gets the floater in the lane. He got doubled and still was able to get that off.
That's not an easy shot to put up. Quinnell Brown is having himself a very, very quiet game. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't even have double digits in scoring.
Garrett Gibson checks into the game. He replaces Ryan Anderson. Quinnell Brown at the free throw line.
Now, you know, Brampton also has to stay out of foul trouble because you don't want to turn this into a free throw shooting game or 1-on-1 every time you foul.
No, because that won't be fun.
No.
(62-37).
Ellis brings up the ball to Winfield. Oh, good cut.
Whitfield, the backdoor to Edmondson, misses that one. A's have possession again. Here's Whitfield on the drive. Pulls up in the lane, misses, and Loisel comes up with the rebound.
I actually thought Edmondson was about to put someone on a poster right there.
It looked like it.
Yeah.
Here's Brown. He'll take the three. That's way off the mark. Ball goes out of bounds, so the A's will take possession. Loisel had to tie his shoe.
That's nice of the refs to wait for.
Here's Ellis, the pull-up.
I don't like that
Misses.
shot at all.
Way too early in the shot clock for that. 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Here's Whitfield,
Ooh.
throws that one down.
I like to see Whitfield out here running and gunning again.
It's good to see him out early.
Yeah.
Here's Bennett going against Smith. Now Ellis picks him up. On the drive baseline, Gary Gibson is fouled, and they're going to give him 2 shots. They call that on Edmondson.
Oh, bonus situation. It's a great turnout here up in Orangeville.
Yes.
Very good turnout.
Yes. Gibson misses the second one. Here's Ellis out to Whitfield. Edmondson with it now. Here's Ellis, 4 on the shot clock, 3, 2.
See Whitfield right there? Did you see his body language?
Here's Kirk Williams
Travel,
Jr.
travel.
Got caught, taking 1 too many steps.
That was, I didn't know they were going to call that one.
Zane Johnson came back into the game for the A's. Under a minute to play here in the first half. Ashton Smith, screen from Whitfield. He'll take the long 2. Off the mark, Edmondson tries to clean it up, can't connect. To the corner, here's Ellis.
That's a tech. Isn't that supposed to be a tech when you go screaming into a player's face?
I am not sure.
I'm going to ask the referees that.
It might be different in FIBA.
You're right.
Loisel gets blocked from Ellis. Here's Smith, Ellis.
Whoa, good job, Ashton.
The thing is, Ellis can't retaliate after that. 14 seconds on the clock.
No, don't retaliate. It's in our favor.
What I'm saying is he can't.
Yes, okay.
I would never say retaliate.
No, I know, I'm saying, yeah.
Ashton Smith is fouled on the drive with 6 seconds to go in the quarter.
When have we ever had this much points in a half?
School day game, when we scored 136
when
points.
we went on our run.
That was our first win.
Yeah. Thanks to the kids that came out that day. All that screaming and cheering.
4,500. Smith gets the first. And the second.
Looks like he inbounded the ball inbounds.
Here's Brown at the end of the quarter, the floater. It's been one of those nights for the Express.
One of those nights.
So at the end of the first half, the Brampton A's lead the Windsor Express 69-38. We will be back for the start of the third quarter right here from the Athlete Institute. Welcome back as we get set for the third quarter here from the Athlete Institute. The Brampton A's with a 70-38 lead. PA announcer Paul Johnson just announcing that number 32, Kirk Williams Jr. of the Windsor Express, was given a technical foul. It occurred at the beginning of halftime, so that is why the score changed from what it was at half at 69-38 to 70-38 as we start the third quarter. I'm out of breath from running to get candy. Only real basketball players can run in 3-inch heels. That's all I'm saying.
I saw that.
That's all I'm saying.
These individual attacks are really hurting Windsor.
So the A's have first possession of the third quarter. Akeem Scott on the drive. Misses. Cavell Johnson's there for the rebound and gets that one to go. The only thing is, now this is the problem though. After the half, Chris Commons has 4 fouls.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to defend so carefully when it comes to Cavell Johnson on the defensive end.
And not only that, it limits him what he could do on that back down, because all it takes is one player to flop. He picks up his 5th.
So Loisel, Quinnell Brown, and Chris Commons all with 4 fouls. Here's Cavell. Misses that one. Tim Parham is there for the rebound for the Express. Here's Anderson. His shot's off the mark. Quinnell Brown there for the rebound. There was definitely contact. Express thought there was a push. Anderson will try again from 3. That's off the mark. And Granado controls the back tap from Cavell. Granado gets it. The kick. Here's Zane in the corner. That falls for Zane Johnson. And he has had a very, very tough time shooting. He had one great shooting game against London in that London series. But since, I would say, like, probably 3/4 through the season, he has had a tough time getting that 3 ball to fall. Loose ball on the floor. Tim Parham and Granado fighting for it. A jump ball is called.
I like what
Bennett
did. Come right over to pick up his get his teammate off the ground, making sure he doesn't get involved in no scuffle to pick up any more techs.
Commons is actually correct. Brampton did start with possession at the third quarter. But I like what Bennett's doing. Bennett's saying, forget about it, who cares, let's just play.
But I don't understand how it's...
I don't know. Was there another jump? There wasn't another jump ball since the quarter. I don't understand how the officials can't remember that. It was 2 minutes ago.
They should just go to the table.
Akeem Scott's 3 is missed. Chris Commons comes down with the rebound. They do have a valid argument, though. Like, it legitimately should have been Express basketball. Commons misses the 3. Cavell Johnson controls the boards. Here's Scott. Cavell in the paint. And that one falls for Cavell Johnson. Gus has got me.
I think he's got me a little bit more right now.
That's all right. Quinnell Brown's shot misses. Bryson Johnson with the rebound. Here's Akeem Scott.
I didn't really see what happened there.
Kevin Loisel checks into the game. I apologize. The stat sheet that I was given has the wrong amount of fouls for Quinnell Brown. Bryson Johnson, though, off the inbound. That's a big 3.
Big 3.
And the A's have doubled the score of the Express, leading 80-40 here in the third quarter. Bennett on the drive, gets the layup to go around Granado.
Again, now Brampton has to go into cannot fall into the trap of playing not to lose.
Here's Cavell to Zane in the corner. That falls for Zane Johnson. At the half, the A's were shooting 38% from beyond the arc. Bennett to Loisel. Doubled, kicked. Anderson splits the D. The kick to Bennett, down low to Commons. And he's fouled hard by Akeem Scott. That's the type of basketball that we're used to seeing from the Windsor Express. They make that extra pass, they get the open man, and they get the higher percentage bucket.
And I just don't know why they never stuck to that when they were down initially. But it went into that one-on-one hero basketball. I do like the foul by Akeem Scott, that making sure that Chris could not come up with a and one play.
Commons misses the first free throw. And the second. Here's Granado. Zane. Scott, the kick. Zane for three. That's off the mark.
A little rushed, but that was a heat check shot.
Up the floor, Loisel. He's hit from behind by Granado.
I like that landing, though.
I give him a 10.
I give him a 10 on that landing.
If this was the Olympics, we'd get a 10.
Yeah, I give him a 10 on that landing. And I like how he was about to hit the padding and then pushed himself right back off. Yeah, it was good. Good stuff.
Well, you never know. When it comes to like padding in gyms on the walls, you never know how hard and how tough the padding can be. So it could be really, really hard, and you run into it with your face. No thanks.
I do like what Akeem Scott's doing. He's making a conscious effort to push that ball.
The three-point play was good from Kevin Loisel as he converted the foul shot. Off the miss, here's the Express. Anderson in transition, the three. That's off the mark. Cavell pulls down the rebound, and back the other way go the A's.
I'm giving Cavell a touch right now. Just keep him involved, keep him active.
I mean, he's working for you on the defensive end, clearing the boards and crashing for the rebounds. You got to reward him on the offensive end. Bennett's going to get the foul and the basket.
I agree with the foul. I think the continuation is what was tough.
Yes.
I agree there was a foul there. That's a good call. But the continuation was a
50-50?
50-50. But it was the right call, though. I just don't know if I would have given him the continuation.
Ashton Smith checks into the game. He replaces Akeem Scott. Tony Bennett completes the three-point play for the Express. 83-49 lead now for the A's. 7:24 to play in the third quarter. Here's Smith on the drive, the floater. Misses.
That's a tough shot to make.
Granado's going to get called for the over the back.
I mean, this game's not done. Windsor has more than enough talent to cut this lead down quickly.
Oh, yeah. Bennett, screen from Loisel. The kick, Commons is left wide open for three. That does not fall. Things are just not falling for Chris Commons tonight.
Well, when he got into the flow of the game and he started hitting a couple of threes, right after that, he got fouled. He committed his fourth foul. Had to get out of the game. So when he started getting his flow, he had to come out right away.
Akeem Ellis checked in for the A's.
But Brown isn't having a very strong game either. Quinnell Brown isn't having a very Quinnell Brown type of game.
No, not compared to the way he played in game one, and compared to the way he played in game two. And he's actually in game two he's coming off of a 34-point performance.
Wow. In
game two, shooting 10 of 16 from the field at 63% and 75% from the foul line. So coming off of that type of performance, or I apologize, that was the stats for game one for Quinnell Brown. Game two, 34 points on 11 of 19 at 58%, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, 54, and 10 of 11 from the foul line. So he had a game of his own of the 50-50-90.
Yeah.
Here's
A
Smith.
lot of one-on-one now.
That was a high arcing shot clock buzzer beater.
It was a beautiful shot, but
A lot of
a
one-on-one,
lot
like
of
you said.
Yeah. But a great shot.
Taishuan Edmondson is going to get called for the foul.
In a game like this, you just pray no one gets hurt. And blowouts
Or ejected.
or ejected, and that could hurt us for the next game. Or another game after that.
Correct. Here's Anderson, 10 on the shot clock.
Oh, I had a roll there.
If he didn't shot fake, he
Yeah.
could have easily had Kirk Williams Jr. on that roll. Marcus Oliver spins baseline, tries to kick it. It's tipped. Here's Anderson.
Ooh.
Nice behind the back move to get around Zane Johnson. And they're going to get Zane Johnson on the foul. It was pretty.
He almost put him on that spin drive.
Put him in the spin cycle.
Wow.
Tried to. It was pretty. So 5:40, I can't even speak. 5:40 to play here in the third quarter. The A's with a 85-51 lead over the Express and a timeout on the floor. We'll take a break ourselves. You're listening to Brampton A's basketball.
Declan Roberts making McPeak.
Back out of the timeout. Ryan Anderson on the free throw line.
You know, is there a point where you might put DeAndre Thomas in this game and just leave him in there just to catch a rhythm or a flow?
I'm surprised he hasn't.
Yeah.
I know in the first half he took him out because of that technical foul he picked up. But I'm surprised he hasn't tried to put him in this third quarter as Zane Johnson comes up. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because after that happened, Chris Commons looks at me on the bench and I couldn't do anything but laugh because he looked so dead in my eyes.
Like he looked right in your eye. Like I thought he saw
I
your
thought he
soul.
was looking into my soul for a second there. And it's all in good fun.
We love Chris Commons. Chris Commons is one of those players that comes talk to us, gives us love.
But he's having a rough night at the office. And then a block from Oliver on Bennett after the three was made at the other end by the Akeem Ellis. And yes, I did just say the Akeem Ellis. Don't ask me why.
I wasn't going to say anything. But I think also, in all fairness, some calls, and you have agreed, kind of been questionable.
They have. Oh, they have.
Yeah. Of course, we're taking it.
I know Coach Maggs will take it.
But if you look at it the flip side, if Brampton was on Windsor right now, we'd be the same way.
I don't want you to necessarily see it's when it comes to home court advantage.
No, not that.
Because in game one, the refs were equal.
Right.
The A's just did better. Scored more points, I guess you could say. I mean, they scored 2 more points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Game 2, the calls favored the Express more. And now you're seeing the same thing happen here. So at the end of the day, it's unfortunate when it can't be consistent game to game.
Well, at the same token,
I mean, from game 2 to game 3, it's been consistently bad.
but I don't know if I can even agree with that. If you think about it from the flip side, there's also got to be a point where Brampton's playing really
I'm not,
well.
no. I'm not saying they're not playing well as the shot clock was almost going to expire, but Loisel comes up with a steal. Anderson will trigger from the 3 and then wipes the floor from where he shot it. We'll get back to that at a break. Here's Oliver. They're going to call it travel.
It was a tough catch for him.
It was.
Tough catch. Yeah, the referees isn't the reason why Windsor's losing by more than 30 points.
Not at all. That's not why. But you have to keep in mind that they haven't been consistent.
Right.
From game 1 to game 2 to game 3. They haven't been consistent. That's been my issue all season, is consistency. Off of the miss, Ellis with the rebound. Anderson trying to go with the steal. Gary Gibson checking back into the game for the Express. On the inbound, Edmondson on the drive, flips it up and in. Making it look easy.
Yeah, he's having a great day. But he's working hard, though.
Very true. I'm confused at that call.
I didn't see it.
They
I think he's saying there's a hold.
They're saying
Loisel
hold. I don't.
Whitfield.
Held
Whitfield.
I don't know.
Hold Whitfield.
Chris isn't looking at me, is he?
Yeah, I think we're okay right now.
Loose ball. Somehow Edmondson comes up with it. Excuse me. Misses, and then a ball stolen back in the corner. That's Tyshawn Edmondson.
See, they're calling a kick ball. Windsor wants a kick ball, but the kick was unintentional.
Yeah,
he dribbled the ball off his foot.
That's the only thing. A kick has to be intentional.
Yeah.
Gibson left wide open on the baseline.
Kick has to be intentional, so I don't know why Windsor's arguing for the kick ball. He dribbled the ball, he crossed over behind the guy's foot and hit his foot. Ooh, watch those elbows.
Whitfield's gonna get called for the foul.
Good call. Good call. What do you think Windsor needs to do to cut down this lead?
Stop complaining about calls.
Oh.
I know that has nothing to do with scoring, but if you just forget about the whistle and forget about calls not going in your favor or going in your favor and just play the game, that can help mentally.
Yep.
Nice pass from
Good pass.
to Loisel from Quinnell Brown, the no-look pass. 93-60 in favor of Brampton. Here's Oliver on the baseline, gets that one to go. The
Great
other
pass.
thing too is transition defense is not working for them right now. Here's Brown going against Ellis. On the drive, gets the floater in the lane.
But, I mean, for Windsor, you just can't exchange baskets. Oh.
Edmondson on the drive, he's fouled and will go to the foul line. Jamarcus Ellis will check into the game.
Loisel is not out. How many guys did they have? 2, 4, 6.
No, he just didn't know who he was going in for yet. So, going back to your question about the refs, as I was saying, when it comes down to it, and I've said it all season, my frustration has been the lack of consistency.
Yeah. That's going to be
Offensive foul is going to be called on Gary Gibson.
Oh. They're counting the basket.
Yep. If it was if the ball's released
And
before
then-
contact's
yes.
made, then they can count the bucket. So the Express doing something different, picking up in a bit of a full court man-to-man. Coming up with a steal off the inbound. Quinnell Brown gets the layup. See this? Just play basketball.
Yeah, just play.
Just play basketball and it'll come to you. Edmondson up the floor, gets it to Ashton Smith, able to break that press.
That looked like a goaltend, no?
That looked like, I thought Whitfield traveled when he got the ball. I didn't see him put it on the ground. And then Loisel coming up with the steal for the Express. Right to the bucket, he's fouled hard. And Kevin Loisel will go to the free throw
This
line.
is the best Windsor's played all night.
In this last
2 minutes.
Last 2 to 3 minutes of this quarter, yeah. Loisel making the free throw. Jamal McQueen checks into the game for the Express.
Back in the full
Loisel will
court.
get a break. Here's Ellis. Oliver with it now. Over to Smith. Eight on the shot clock. Smith still with it. 6 on the shot clock. Smith will trigger. That falls from dead on right down the middle of the key for Ashton Smith.
Now, usually you and I would have said that wasn't too good of a shot in the sense of that there wasn't enough passes. But on that one, I didn't mind it because he actually dribbled, surveyed, gathered himself, and then shot it.
And there was also movement from the other players. The Express were doing a good job guarding them.
Yeah.
As Marcus Oliver is going to pick up the foul here. The Express were doing a good job guarding at that in that particular stand.
Yeah.
That Ashton had nothing to do but keep the ball in his hands, survey the floor, and try and work something and make something out of the offensive play there. And that's what you do as a point guard, as a quarterback, as a floor general. You keep the ball in your hands as long as you need to if there's nothing opening up.
For sure. And that's exactly what he did, and it worked out great for him.
Kirk Williams Jr. on the free throw line missed the first one. Missed both. Whitfield coming up with the rebound, and now, see, that's just a silly foul.
Was it a foul though?
That's why I'm saying it's silly.
Like a silly call?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought you were saying it's
Like,
a silly foul.
He's 60 feet from the net, like,
And
why?
he didn't lose possession or anything.
No. Williams was not impeding his area. He wasn't stopping him from going anywhere. It was a waste almost. Here's Ellis on the drive.
Two shots. I think Ellis has got to be one of the best players I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of players do that running one-hander.
And the funny thing is, he does it off balance and with both hands.
He's like great at it.
Very good at it. Takes practice.
Yeah. And everyone here gets some free food.
Yep. 100 points. Century marked in the third quarter, 41.3 seconds to play in the third quarter here at the Athlete Institute. Game 3 of the Central Division Finals between the Brampton A's and the Windsor Express. Here's Gibson on the drive, kick out. Williams on the drive, he's fouled. Continuation, count the bucket. Kirk Williams Jr. will go to the free throw line.
These continuations are coming from really far out. I don't have a problem with the calls. The calls are right. I don't know, the continuations have been a little bit tough, but it's the right call. I don't want to say anything too bad because these guys still refereeing for my men's leagues. If I get no calls.
They're probably happy they don't see me in women's league anymore. Probably happy they just had to deal with me on the mic. Off of the inbound, Kirk Williams Jr. comes up with the dunk after the steal from Gary Gibson. 16 seconds, Whitfield tries to go to the corner and turns the ball over.
I'll tell you this, Brampton, the next game, better work on their press break.
They also better not expect that Windsor's going to play the way they have tonight.
No. But I mean, this is what it's supposed to be. You got the two best teams, or two of the top teams going at it for a spot and for the finals.
To face Halifax, who was able to beat the Island Storm in 5 games. Here's Gibson, the kick to Kirk Williams. Gets his man in the air at the end of the quarter, count the bucket. Kirk Williams Jr.
That
really came off the bench and sparked something for the Express in that third quarter. So after 3 quarters of basketball, the Brampton A's lead the Windsor Express 101-75. We'll take a short one here and get set for the fourth quarter. Start of the fourth quarter here. Windsor Express with first possession of the quarter. Kids just running by.
Yeah. What do you got for me? What do we got on the stats?
You take a look at that. I'll do my job. So Coach Jones keeps Kirk Williams Jr. on the floor to start the fourth. And Bryson Johnson nailed in that play. And he is grabbing his left knee, trying to straighten that out.
Hopefully he's okay because we're going to need him.
Athletic therapist Mark McGibbon started to run to the court and was U-turned by the team. Bryson able to get up under his own power, so it's good to see that.
The one major change, I would say that looking at the stats, is the Windsor Express field goal percentage went up.
That's because they were taking a lot more high percentage shots as opposed to lower percentage. I'm going to take it because I'm open, or I'm going to take it because we're down 30 plus, and I'm trying to get us back in the game. Like that one by Ryan Anderson, taking what the defense gave him. The defense gave him a lane. He took it, got the layup. 101-77. Now Gary Gibson harassing Akeem Scott at the top of the key, just below the half-court line. He picks up a foul.
Windsor's really starting to get in them. Hope these kids, I can't see nothing.
I got you.
Okay. That's why we're a team, everybody.
Bryson Johnson on the drive, flips it up. He's hit, and again is slow to get up.
Johnson. Is it a knee again?
I'm not sure if he got hit in the stomach. This time he's asking for a sub, as Taishawan Edmondson will check in for him.
Hopefully he's okay. This is like what we were just saying earlier. Hopefully nobody gets injured in a game like this, right?
8 seconds on the shot clock, the A's to inbound. That was a long, I was just about to say, that seems like a long 5 seconds. And as I'm about to say it, the official calls a 5-second violation.
You know, this could be a 20-point game real quick.
Oh,
with
yeah.
a lot of time on the clock.
Here's Gibson to Williams. Back to Gibson. Gets space, stripped by Scott.
Great strip by Scott.
That was a good strip, yeah.
Clean cookies.
I don't agree with this foul call because I honestly think that Scott just got out of control.
Yeah.
And tripped over his own feet, to be honest with you. But I'm not an official.
Nope.
Granado with it, top
Not
of
yet.
the three-point line. Over to Cavell. Cavell on the drive, loses the handle. Jamarcus Ellis with it. Ellis to Williams. Williams on the drive. He's fouled, and that will send Kirk Williams Jr. to the line. Kirk Williams Jr. in this, I would say, mid-third quarter to the start of this fourth quarter has really brought something into this game, momentum-wise and intensity-wise, for Coach Jones of the Express.
He needs to. Somebody had to.
Hi, Gus.
Gus, what's up, buddy?
Gus is giving the score a thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
He got 2 thumbs up, 2 paws up. Because dogs don't have thumbs. You're the only dog in the world that has thumbs. He's giving me 2 thumbs up.
I think, yeah, you're right. Kurt Williams Jr. actually came in and energized this whole team.
He subbed back. He was subbed out and then subbed back into the game. And whatever he did on the bench, it's brought something different to this Express team. And they're going to call foul now. And Coach Jones, as Kirk Williams Jr. upset, Coach Jones grabs him and turns to the official and says, I got him, I got him. I thought they had a clear jump ball on that.
But what happened, so I think what happened, because we couldn't see it, but a player came from behind and wrapped up Cavell. It looked like 3 players were all on him, but at the same token, why does Cavell bring up the ball?
Exactly. I don't understand why any of the guards, Akeem, Ty, Zane, why they're not going to him to get the ball out of his hand.
Now the problem is, Akeem Scott and Edmondson are having not an argument, but they're talking, and Edmondson say no one's hitting the picks. There's no picks out there for you guys to get open.
It's hard to get open when the screens are not actual screens and there's no one being screened.
Now in this situation, I like what Akeem Scott's doing, getting the ball to Cavell.
With Gary Gibson on him, you got a mouse in the house, you got to put him in the paint.
Yeah, and I like that. He said, everyone get out of the way, we're getting the ball to Cavell. Great point guard awareness.
Cavell Johnson is fouled. They call that foul on Gary Gibson, so Cavell will go to the free throw line.
Cavell's had a quiet game, but I like to say he had a very effective game still.
Defensively, he was very efficient.
Changed a lot of shots.
With the first 2 blocks in that first quarter, I think that set the tone defensively for the Express's offense that Cavell wasn't going to be played with. Here's Commons trying to back down, splits the defense, gets that one to go, and they're going to call an and one. And Akeem Scott unhappy with Tom Granato on that play.
Because he's saying is, if you're going to foul him, foul him. Like, or don't come swinging your arm down, just stand straight up. He's right. This is a 23-point lead with 10 minutes to go. And I like to say momentum is for Windsor.
And they have 2 players named Ryan Anderson and Tony Bennett who lit it up from beyond the arc in game 2.
Who hasn't played in this comeback. Has a lot of legs and energy for going down this stretch of this game.
Yeah, they went to the bench at the, I want to say, around the 2-minute mark of that third quarter, and they're going in 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. So they've sat for 4 minutes of gameplay, but then you also add in timeouts and foul shots.
Whoa.
Just gonna let that one play.
Yeah, you know what? No commentary needed.
105-81 lead for the A's, 9:45 to play. Anderson gonna get called for a travel. That could easily be a technical, but I appreciate the refs not giving him a technical.
Yeah.
On the inbound, Edmondson spins and splits the defense right to the bucket. They're going to call an offensive foul.
Offensive foul.
He was there.
He was there, but
He was there. When it's a player control foul and the player offensively doesn't have control.
I mean, he did have Cavell Johnson. He could have just shuttle passed it too.
Akeem Scott's got to be very careful when he defends a point guard and he tries to go up into them. He's got to be very careful when he arm bars them.
Yeah.
You're allowed a point of contact, but when you arm bar up into them, it's hard.
Oh.
Cavell almost comes up with a steal. Not really sure what happened to him there.
Hopefully Cavell's okay.
I don't know what happened.
His body kept going, but the ball came backwards,
and
so
it
his
just
lower half kept going and his upper half top.
And he just twinged his hip there. Anyways, timeout on the floor. The A's with a 105-81 lead, 9:23 to play. We'll take a short one here ourselves as we get set for the remaining 9:23 of the fourth quarter. back out of the timeout. Here's Quinnell Brown in the paint. Misses. Loose ball. Cavell Johnson's going to get called for a foul.
Tough one. Looked like two guys were just jumping for the rebound. Tough one.
So now Coach Jones has put the starting lineup back into the game. You'll see if they can continue the momentum that that second unit had to start this quarter.
I will say one thing. If they got to, Windsor still got to, although they're making a great run to cut it down, energy's great, but they got to continue to stick with working with each other in the system. And Brampton has to continue to step on it and
I would
push
agree.
the ball.
Here's Ellis. Smith, 10 on the shot clock. Cavell over to Zane, 6 on the shot clock. Down low, Smith loses the handle, kicks it out. Ellis for 3. That's way off the mark. And Commons comes up with the loose ball. Akeem Ellis is going to pick up the foul.
I didn't even see it. I was looking to see what Commons was going to do against Cavell.
Kevin Loisel on the free throw line.
See, and now, again, they're in the bonus already with 8 minutes to go.
And that stops the clock.
Yeah.
That completely plays into the favor
Of Windsor.
Of Windsor. Here's Ellis. Extra pass to the corner, Edmondson. Kicks it to Zane. Zane for 3. Off the mark. On the rebound, that's Kevin Loisel. Kirk Williams Jr. checks back into the game. He replaces Kevin Loisel. They call a kickball.
So, I didn't see a kick there.
Down low, here's Kirk Williams Jr. Puts that one off the glass. I like that.
He gathered himself.
He gathered himself, but also too, Akeem Ellis didn't try to go for the block.
Yeah.
Here's Zane, down low to Cavell. Commons on him, flips it to Edmondson. Edmondson is fouled, so he will go to the free throw line.
Still a lot of time in this game.
They call that on Ryan Anderson. Coach Jones looks at Gary Gibson and calls him back into the game.
Now, a big thing, Brampton has to hit their free throws going down the stretch. As I almost fall over the chair.
Don't fall. That wouldn't be good. Edmondson misses the second. Anderson left wide open. Gets Ellis in the air. Misses. Loose ball back tap right into the hands of Chris Commons. Kirk Williams Jr. follows it.
There's a big man standing right beside me right now.
I'm wondering if they're going to try and get him into the game or if he's just trying to get a better vantage point for the viewing. Here's Ellis.
Oh,
Almost got the shooter's roll on that one. Up the floor, Kirk Williams Jr. The layup misses. He is fouled.
Kurt Williams Jr. is having himself one great game. All right, so we just found out what the big man has to do. He's got to be aggressive. He's got to eat barbecue chicken.
He just, did I not say that in the first half?
We just said it.
Said that in the first half. He looked at us and said, coming off injury, I got to get myself back into it. Kirk Williams Jr., going back to what you said about Kirk Williams Jr., he is having himself
balling right now.
One heck of a second half.
The trade from Mississauga to Windsor for him.
Was he? I'm trying to remember if he was traded or if he was released and they picked him up.
Well, with the move.
Yes, the move to acquire him.
Yes, helped him because I don't think Mississauga was really using his
athletic ability.
Exactly. And also, his emotions are a lot more in check with Windsor than they were with Mississauga.
Yes, and that's no disrespect to Mississauga.
No.
As Edmondson drains a long three, it's just that Coach Jones has been able to turn his emotion into a different direction.
Yes.
But he's essentially sparked this excuse me, this attack of a comeback from the Express.
Oh, for sure.
Brown trying to get by Ellis. On the spin.
Ellis goes.
No, I was actually just going to say what he just said. It looked like on that spin that Quinnell Brown grabbed Ellis, not grabbed, but got Ellis in the face enough to rip his glasses off of his face.
Okay, here comes the big man, DeAndre Thomas.
Hasn't played since the first half.
But you know what? If he had an ankle injury, I'm just looking at his ankles and his feet and his size. That's a lot of weight coming down on those ankles.
He's a big guy.
He's a big dude who has a mid-range, as Megan educated me on.
He does. Big man's got some big mid-range.
So tough. You know what the thing is, too? People don't realize when you come back from an injury, although you're able to walk and play,
it's mentally.
It's a trust factor to be able to trust the injury.
109-88 lead for the A's here in the fourth quarter. 6:24 to play. Here's Ellis. Got Kirk Williams Jr. to bite on that one and drains it. They're going to say that's a long two.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but he got him.
He did.
He got him.
Bennett on the kick. Here's Gibson. Williams Jr. in the corner. Misses that one. Thomas tries to save it. He's fouled. Definitely was being held. Marcus Oliver was definitely holding on to him as he was going up for that layup.
See, you know what? Even if you look at his body language right now, it's just, I could be doing so much more for my team right now. I just can't.
You can tell.
Yeah, like you could see.
You can tell that he wants to be where he was prior to injury.
Yeah.
Goes 1 of 2 from the foul line. Good to see Bryson Johnson back into the game.
I think he must have got hit in his stomach. Probably just got winded a bit.
Here's Ellis to Oliver. Oliver tried to slip it to Edmondson. Bennett came up with the steal. Here's Gibson. Thomas wants it. Thomas gets it to Kirk Williams Jr. And he loses the hand.
A little bit low.
And I think that's when he went to collect the pass.
Yeah.
It went off of his foot out of bounds.
But, you know, if you touch it, you can grab it. So, might have been a little bit low. He should have finished it, though.
Here's Smith. Ellis, 16 on the shot clock. Ellis on the drive, the floater.
He's the best I've ever seen.
And he's got such body control.
Still 5 minutes in this game.
113-91, A's lead. Edmondson, the drive, misses, and a jump ball is going to be called.
Should be Windsor ball.
Didn't they have it to start? They had it to start the fourth. But based on the way we did the jump ball in the third quarter, it should be Windsor's basketball.
It's going to be Windsor ball.
Mags is having the same conversation.
I don't know how they did the whole jump ball.
I don't know. See, now what's going to frustrate me is the fact that on this one, the officials have come together and talked about it. But on the last one in the third quarter,
They didn't talk about it.
it. There was not even a question. They
No.
knew for a fact that it was Brampton basketball. But to our knowledge and
Back
to the
to
Windsor
Brampton.
bench knowledge, it should have been Windsor basketball in the third quarter.
Right. So let's keep an eye. Now it's Brampton basketball. Let's see what happens.
Here's Ellis on the inbound. Oliver, 6 on the shot clock, spinning.
Where is... you know what, big man? That's a tough one. Chris Commons is looking at you again. Chris Commons is looking at you.
I feel like Chris thinks that I picked the officials. I don't have anything to do with picking them.
I mean, that's a tough call, though. I mean,
It is
I
a
can't-
tough
I
call.
can't even argue with
That
that.
was a tough call.
I can't even argue that.
That was a tough call. I thought he was just playing straight up defense.
Yeah, it
And
looked good
Oliver
to me.
just ran into a wall. Gibson flips it to Kirk Williams Jr. on the rebound, though. They're going to call a foul on Oliver. I thought there was actually more of a foul on Kirk Williams Jr. attempt than there was on DeAndre
for
Thomas's
sure.
attempt.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see too much of DeAndre in game 2. Did he play less or more in game 2?
Then here,
Yeah.
I believe he played more.
I mean, moving forward, they need him to get back to where he was at.
Yeah.
If not for this series.
But that's also asking for a lot. If they were to ask that for the remainder of
Cavell?
the playoffs, it would be a lot.
Like, so if Cavell got injured, having him to come back to his effectiveness, it's tough in a short
It's
period of
tough
time.
in a short, exactly. Especially since this is his first series back.
Yeah.
A's turn the ball over. Here's Gibson. Gibson kicks it to Quinnell Brown. They go down low to Thomas. Thomas gets doubled, misses. Thomas is fighting with Granado. And Granado takes Thomas to the ground. That should be a foul on Granado.
100%.
That should definitely be a foul on Granado. Granado wrapped him up
And
took him down.
yeah.
That should not be a double foul. That should not be a double foul at all.
And DeAndre's out now?
I think not.
I think so.
So, yeah. That's a bad call.
It's a bad call. But again, why take him out?
I don't know. Here's Edmondson to Granado. Misses the 3. Kevin Loisel comes up with the rebound. Up the floor, Quinnell Brown misses, gets his own rebound, misses again. Bryson Johnson with the loose ball.
Great use of the clock there.
Here's Smith, 8 seconds on the shot clock. 6 seconds. Chris Commons comes up with the block. Up the floor, here's Gibson. Back to Loisel, to Commons, the easy layup.
That was a perfect 3-on-1 fast break.
That was perfect.
That was amazing. That was like a 3-on-1.
Force the defense to make a decision. Here's Granado. 13 on the shot clock. Down low, back to Granado. Tried a little Dirk Nowitzki trick there.
Yeah, that little 1 foot leaning back.
3 seconds on the shot clock. The A's have the inbound on the baseline. On the inbound, here's Edmondson. Puts it up. And then Commons throws it right back to Edmondson for the layup. Here's Gibson. Loisel on the drive, almost gets caught traveling.
I was looking for in the rebound.
Taishuan tied up Quinnell Brown on the rebound attempt.
I didn't see that one.
Going for the rebound.
I mean, this is a fantastic game from the whole entire team of Brampton. Every player that came into the game was effective. And you know what I loved about what Brampton players did today? Is they did what they do. Didn't do anything uncharacteristic and didn't do anything different. They knew, everyone, as a good friend of mine, The Rock, says, they all knew their role. If you smell what I'm cooking.
I don't. Quinnell Brown makes the first free throw.
But sometimes that's what really hurts teams in playoffs when players aren't doing what they do. Like if you're not a three-point shooter, don't shoot threes.
Yep.
And I think Zane gave us a really big lift, as well as a lift for himself.
Yeah, mentally, this shooting game, Edmondson from Granado gets that layup to go. Mentally, I think this game, shooting-wise, for Zane Johnson was what he needed to try and get things going in the right way. Here's Loisel from three. Smith gets by Gibson. Kicks it, Edmondson. Off the mark, back tap by Granado. Bryson Johnson controls. Ellis, a minute 35 to play.
Way to use the clock.
Ten on the shot clock. Granado comes up for the screen. Ellis to the corner. Edmondson driving. At the shot clock, gets that to fall.
I'm going to warn you right now, but there's a good chance Chris Collins is going to come over here and stare right at you.
Probably.
Yeah.
So 122-99 lead for the A's with a minute 14 to play. Coach Jones calls a timeout. Back from the timeout, Express with possession. Here's Bennett. Deep three. That's off the mark. Bryson Johnson with the rebound.
I'm so impressed with Bryson Johnson's playoff run.
Coach Jones is going to clear his bench. Under a minute to play. Here's Ellis for three. Granado's going to get called for a over the back foul. I don't like that three from Ellis.
Yeah, I didn't like it either, but you know what? This game's over. But you always, the way you finish a game, 9 out of 10 times, how you start the next one. When's the next game, though, Megan?
Friday.
What time?
7.
You going to be here?
Obviously.
All right. Tomorrow is a very special day. It's World Autism Day.
Yes.
And, you know, we here at Brampton want to give a shout out. It's a great cause, great day, and let's all try to donate.
Leave it at that.
Friday is Good Friday.
It is.
And let's
Fridays are always good.
Fridays are always good. Let's hope it's a good Friday for Brampton.
Ryan Anderson on the free throws. Cuts it to a 21-point lead.
I'll tell you this, Windsor's going to be doing a lot of more full court presses.
Oh, yeah.
And Brampton, Coach Maggs has
they'll
to work
probably
on
do it a lot earlier in the game.
Off arm. Off arm.
Offensive foul. Kevin Loisel, so great. So great at picking up offensive fouls.
Yeah.
So good at it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of myself.
But that was an obvious one, though. I mean, he extended.
But in all seriousness, he is so good at picking up offensive fouls and drawing them. Here's Ellis, Jamarcus Ellis for the Express on the drive, flips it up. That falls for Jamarcus Ellis. 15 seconds to play now in the game. The A's will take game 3, 122. Why call the foul?
Chris Commons is angry.
He's
at
not
us.
happy.
But Chris, we love you, man.
I don't know. Don't be mad at us. Chris, I don't pick the refs. Just know that. Because if I did, I wouldn't have picked these 3.
You know what? I don't think it was so much on the refereeing.
I'm with the, no, again, I don't like inconsistency.
Yeah, no, and you've been consistent with that.
I've been consistent at reiterating that I don't like inconsistency when it comes to the officiating. And they all know that.
Now, Brampton players, please don't pick up a dumb tech foul that can get us suspended for the next game. We got the win in our pocket. Let's just go home. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought Chris, I don't think Chris realized that they called a foul. He was halfway to the locker room. Him and Kirk Williams Jr. were halfway to the locker room. I apologize, I just sniffled into the microphone. That was rude. I don't understand. I don't understand why, one, the refs had to make that call at the end of the game, and 2, why they needed to give him a technical foul.
Well, we don't know what he was saying, in all fairness.
There's 6.3 seconds left. Just let him say what he wants to say. Seriously.
But you have to set a trend. Because if he's saying
There's
F this or F that, as a referee, you can't take that.
But you can warn him. Was he given a warning?
We don't know.
Exactly.
We don't know.
I'm unsure.
But to me, those certain players shouldn't be leaving their team.
So the A's come away with a 125-103 victory here in Game 3. We will be back on Friday right here at 7 p.m. for Game 4. Brampton A's take a 2-1 series lead in the Central Division Finals and will host Game 4 right back here on Friday, 7 p.m. If you can make it out, great. You can check the website for the link to buy tickets. If you can't make it out, we hope that everybody has a very happy and safe Easter weekend. For Declan Roberts, I am Meg McPeak. Once again, thank you, and we will see you on Friday.